What historical clothing item was banned from the set? How did a costume become the reason of Claudia Jessie's injury? And why did the designers deliberately make a mistake when styling Queen Charlotte? Hi, I'm Joy, and let's get into it. Creating the costumes. Unlike your typical Regency romance, Bridgerton is less 50 Shades of Beige and more I'm loud, proud, and glamorous in every way. You know what I'm talking about. It's the vibrant colors, intricate detailing, and eye-catching embellishments of each and every costume.
It is Regency with a twist. Everything is just so bold and it's beautiful.
No two characters are dressed the same, and every color and pattern cleverly speaks to both the personality and social class of the wearer. Would you ever see Daphne Bridgerton dressed in the wild, citrusy yellows of the Featherington family? And would Penelope Featherington still be her fiery self wearing the dark hues of Lady Danbury? The designer behind the show's extravagant ensembles is Ellen Maroynick, an award-winning designer responsible for the breathtaking costumes on films like Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct, and A Perfect Murder. Having worked with Shondaland before, Maroynick was approached thinking she was merely helping out, but Bridgerton's modern influence piqued her interest and she ended up taking the lead. Shonda loves for her audience to look at a show and go, wow. The whole of Shondaland does, just in a visual sense, aside from paying attention to the story, which is always riveting. Can you guess how many designers were part of her team? 230. Sound like a lot? It's actually not that many, considering they had almost no extra time to make up for mistakes and actually ended up making over 7,000 costume pieces.
I think there are close to 7,500 pieces of wardrobe just made for Bridgerton.
We have so many questions, like where do showrunners even store that many clothes? And how do you find what you're looking for? In a recent interview, Maroynick opened up about how she actually looked at paintings of the Regency period as inspiration. We got a flavor of it, and then it was about looking at the different silhouettes. We knew it had to be aspirational as opposed to historically accurate. Even though bonnets were very popular in the Regency period, you might also find it interesting to know that Maroynick actually banned the item from being used in any of the costumes. Instead, the design team opted for extravagant hairpieces and updos and even a tiara or two. No bonnets, no problem. We wouldn't want our favorite eligible ladies to hide their hair anyway. Hidden meanings and details. Throughout the designing process, Maroynick was sometimes given specific instructions regarding the different characters' costumes. Why? Because different colors illustrate different personalities, and certain designs are more fitting to a character's social status. In the case of the Featherington sisters, the script described them as wearing acid colors, greens, yellows, and oranges. These exhilarating colors are bold and in your face, just like the sisters' personalities. They're loud, audacious, and aren't afraid to show it. And thanks to Maroynick, their costumes aren't either. When designing for Daphne Bridgerton and the Duke of Hastings, Maroynick was actually given creative freedom to let her imagination roam. The results? She used colors and textures to communicate desire, excitement, and allure. The fabrics used for the Duke had to be touchable and sensual, thus making him appear more elegant and desirable. Did it work? Most definitely. Moving on to Queen Charlotte, Maroynick wanted her style to match her stature. The Queen is grand and timeless, and she certainly has a commanding presence. In order to enforce this presence, the Queen's costumes, like her hair, had to be big and over the top. Basically, if she could still fit through the door, the dress wasn't big enough. Penelope and Eloise might be absolute friendship goals, but have you ever noticed how much their costumes contrast each other? Again, this is no accident. Penelope wears bright colors, florals, and feathers, and Eloise soft colors with lace and tailored details. Why? Because even though they're best friends, the two girls ultimately hail from completely different families. The Bridgertons are more refined and revered than the Featheringtons, and the characters' costumes subconsciously show this.
Your dresses have arrived. It's quite ravishing.
In terms of Eloise as a person, we perceive her as a symbol of feminism for the Regency period. She's often depicted as more masculine or with a certain toughness to her wardrobe. Her buttoned-up shirts and occasional jacket strongly contrasts with the femininity of her best friend Penelope, and placing the two together in scenes only reinforces this more. Did you pick up on any of Maroynick's hidden meanings? The cast's reaction. As you could imagine, having to swap your 2021 joggers with a corset or waistcoat might be a little crazy at first. You're wearing layers and layers of tight, colourful clothing, and suddenly you realise you had an entire bottle of water on your way to the set. While none of this actually happened to any of the actors that we know of, Phoebe Dynevor, the actress portraying Daphne Bridgerton, recently joked by saying she practically lived in her costumes for 7 months. The actress also revealed that the first time she went in for a costume fitting, she was actually slightly terrified. There was this warehouse of hundreds of people working on our dresses, and I was like, this is crazy. Then they said, "We're going to make you about 100 dresses. It's every girl's dream, isn't it?" Of course it is. A part of it, at least. Actor Regé-Jean Page, or the smouldering Duke of Hastings, actually confirmed all the fan theories suggesting the tightness of the outfits. He explained that even though it might not be the ideal situation, the world of Bridgerton is still defined by its restrictions of women and minorities, and that this had to be visualized through the characters' outfits. In a nutshell, a little tightness was necessary to fully portray their roles. Nicola Coughlan, or Penelope Featherington, chose to put a more humorous spin on things when talking about her character's vibrant, flowery ensembles. According to her, the designers were very strict about the actors spilling anything on their costumes during filming. The actress went on to joke about how everyone knew she was messy and actually resorted to draping a coat over her during lunchtime so she didn't ruin her clothes. Crazy, right? But that's not the end of Coughlan's costume drama. In an interview with This Morning, the actress spoke about her very first time filming as Penelope Featherington. Being slightly too short for her dress, the costume department gave her heels to wear, but Coughlan wasn't exactly skilled in walking with them. Apparently, the corset also made it hard to balance, and she actually fell over numerous times.
The last time I was carrying a parasol, which became a deadly weapon, so I fell forward, speaking to Claudia Jessie, who plays Eloise, full-on stabbed her in the hand with the parasol and she started bleeding.
The actress then goes on to say that after the incident, the showrunners had a meeting in which they confiscated her heels. And this was only her first day. Historical mistakes. Anytime a period drama is released on TV, people are always eager to judge the historical accuracy of the costumes. More often than not, accuracy is not really in the picture. Netflix's Bridgerton is no exception, only this time the designers actually meant to shake things up. The characters themselves don't really act like they're supposed to, so why should they be dressed as such? The point was to take the Regency period as a foundation. We didn't want to make it a history lesson, Meroinik recently explained.
This interpretation of 1813 needed to be an overview of how can we add modern elements to it. We've made it more luxurious and more sumptuous, and we've introduced a modern color palette, but really trying to stick to the basic foundation of the 1813 silhouette.
This didn't stop many fashion-conscious viewers from pointing out all the historical inaccuracies present in the show. One particular scene that has everyone talking is actually featured within the first few minutes of the pilot. Prudence Featherington is seen suffering as her corset is being laced up. Apparently, this is completely at odds with the flowy, loose-fitting dress she wears over it. According to corset expert Michelle Honig, stays were actually more popular than corsets during Bridgerton's Regency era. What's a stay, you ask? It's like a corset, except they're more solid and can't be tight-laced. Michelle goes on to say that despite what Hollywood would have us believe, tight lacing was in fact not that historically common, especially in the pre-Victorian era. Are you currently questioning everything you thought you knew? Well, there's more. When you think of Bridgerton's leading lady, Miss Daphne Bridgerton, you probably think of her various blue dresses with the classic empire waist cut. When you think of the Featheringtons, you see bright citrusy hues. The common denominator? Color. The thing is, such bright dyes didn't actually exist in the Regency era, and these types of colors actually signified poor taste, which, when you think about it, might actually be accurate for Lady Portia Featherington. We know her daughter Penelope definitely thought so. Queen Charlotte is the only character actually based on a person from history, but even her dresses date back to those of the late 1700s. In an interview with Vogue, Meroinik said that her designs for Queen Charlotte were a reflection of how her character is focused on the past, the times before her husband, King George, slipped into madness. Despite her power and influence, a part of her can't move forward, and we see that represented in her attire. How Bridgerton's style is setting trends in 2021. 2021 is barely here, and it feels like already so much has happened. Ever since the start of the pandemic, sweats and yoga pants have become everyone's go-to fashion trend. But with the release of Bridgerton at the end of 2020, some people have been thinking about trading comfort for something a little more elegant. In case you're not a regular follower of fashion trends, many designers have already released spring collections that include romantic, regal-inspired pieces, the likes of our favorite Bridgerton characters. It's floral prints and prairie dresses complemented with sheer gloves and matching floral headpieces. But Bridgerton is not only inspiring the clothing of 2021, but also some of the hairstyles. And no, I'm not talking about those woolly 2-feet updos. Daphne Bridgerton and her baby fringe is on everyone's screens around the world. It's only a matter of time until it crosses over into fashion magazines. In fact, we've already seen the trend in 2020 on celebrities such as Saoirse Ronan and Priyanka Chopra Jonas. Are you scheduling a hair appointment right now? I know I am. Whether it's through clothes, hairstyles, or just the saucy things the characters get up to, Bridgerton definitely brought a little light to the start of 2021. And with several actors already hinting at the filming of Season 2 on social media, it might not be that long until we're back in Regency London, where no one's scandals are safe. If you want to know more about the Bridgerton cast, go ahead and watch our other videos where we share behind-the-scenes details and reveal secrets from the actors' personal lives. Thanks for watching.